After the red wave washes over us on Tuesday, the Democrats will, of course, respond by refusing to look inward or engage in anything like introspection. They will lament the death of democracy. They'll accuse Republicans of cheating, even after spending years claiming that it's an attack on democracy to accuse your opponent of cheating. They will blame the American people. They'll blame racism, homophobia, transphobia, arachnophobia, all the phobias. They'll say and do many things. But one thing they will not do is spend any time trying to actually figure out why they lost and lost so badly. If they did, they would see that one of their most catastrophic mistakes was to make abortion a central part of their campaign message. They assumed that voters would be motivated, by the overturning of Roe. They assumed Americans would flock to the polls to defend the right to kill babies. They assumed that most Americans are as avidly supportive of baby murder as they are, and they assumed wrongly. But this is the horse they rode in on, and they're going to take it all the way to the finish line regardless. In the final days before the election, every Democratic apparatus is leaning into the pro-abortion message in ways that range from unintentionally hilarious to unbelievably heinous. So we'll kind of ease into this, and we'll start with the hilarious first. So over on NBC, the medical drama New Amsterdam, which is a show that apparently exists, aired an episode this week revolving around abortion and the overturning of Roe. The Daily Wire reports, quote, "The recent episode, Maybe Tomorrow, explores a world with restricted access to abortion. Showrunners spoke with TV Line about their motivations and aims for the episode, which had leftist fans applauding and conservatives swearing that they're done with the series forever. The episode begins with a montage showing hospital staff realizing Roe v. Wade had been overturned, which was presented as a catastrophic event. Each character then dealt with the aftermath in their own way. Dr. Lauren Bloom, played by Janet Montgomery, admits that she had an abortion in the past, which was not a big deal, quote unquote. One doctor punched a protester outside the hospital, and New Amsterdam staffers panic because he's gay and they're concerned about the courts outlawing same-sex marriage. At various points in the episode, Max inquires about opening an abortion clinic on a military base and setting up a floating clinic to circumvent new laws. Quote, these kinds of issues, both in our country and the healthcare industry, is why I wrote the show to begin with. It's why I created New Amsterdam, according to David Schulner, the showrunner, which she said to TV Line in an interview. As depressing and horrifying as it was, the show was made to tackle these issues. And so we all put in everything we had into this episode. Yes, they put everything they had into it. Unfortunately, that means that they didn't put any, intelligence or subtlety or wit into it because they didn't have any to begin with, which explains the opening scene as mentioned in the Daily Wire article. Okay, it's the montage opening scene. And it is honestly one of the greatest scenes of unintentional comedy to ever air on television. I mean, the whole thing plays like a parody. And when I first saw this, I had to watch it all the way through, and I'm waiting for the punchline, and it never came. Because this is meant to be taken seriously. And you really just have to see it to appreciate it. So let's watch a little bit of this together. Okay, so he's reading the news about Roe v. Wade being overturned. He's tearful. And he's looking at his daughter. That young child will never be able to kill a child, and he's distraught by that possibility. And he drops the phone. He can't even look at the phone. He drops it in disgust. And then we've got the people standing around the street, and they're dumbfounded because Roe v. Wade was overturned. Shell-shocked. And she drops the cup. They do the dramatic cup drop, which has been a cliche since like 1995, by the way. And look at all these people walking down the street, every single one of them. They can't believe it. They can't believe they can't kill babies anymore. Even though this is New York and they can still kill babies. So maybe someone could tell them that, make them feel better. Oh, and there's another father. He's in tears. Father is in tears because he's thinking about, that his daughter will never be able to kill his grandchildren, and that actually makes him cry. So the whole scene went on for like 2 minutes. Sending data over an unencrypted internet connection is like sending a postcard. Your message is wide open for the mailman and any other nosy individual to see. Whether you're connected to an unencrypted internet network on your phone, computer, tablet, or TV, you're sending countless pieces of information out into the digital world that can be seen and intercepted by pretty much anyone. A VPN creates a secure tunnel between you and between your device and the internet. It's like putting your postcard in an envelope so that no one can read your letter before it gets to the person you're sending it to. ExpressVPN is the VPN I trust to keep my data secure. ExpressVPN creates a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet so that hackers can't steal your personal data, your passwords, your financial details, etc. Hackers make serious cash selling personal information on the dark web, but ExpressVPN makes it easier than ever just to keep your information safe. That's all you got to do is fire up the app, click one button, and you're instantly protected. Plus, ExpressVPN works on all your devices so you can stay secure on the go. Secure your online data today at expressvpn.com/MattWalshShow and get 3 extra months free. That's expressvpn.com/MattWalshShow, expressvpn.com/MattWalshShow. There was a time when something so heavy-handed and on the nose and corny and cliche-ridden, again, you actually get the scene where the person is holding a cup of coffee and dramatically drops it. There was a time when something like that could only exist in the Christian movie space, okay? Though coming from the opposite ideological perspective. But modern Hollywood has now adopted the same approach as the Christian film industry, except without the benefit of at least being right about the issues. If you want to know why Democrats are about to lose, it's because they think that what you just watched is an effective piece of propaganda. When it comes to politics, there is nothing worse than being unintentionally funny. In a political setting, you never want to be, that's the worst thing you could be, is unintentionally funny. Look at Joe Biden. He's unintentionally funny all the time because then you've made yourself into a joke. But that's the Democratic specialty at this point. And yet it was not all fun and games. Also this week, NPR did its own bit of pro-abortion propagandizing while taking a decidedly different approach. Again, this is from the Daily Wire. It says, NPR's Michigan Morning Edition aired an abortion on air Thursday morning, complete with the sound of the 11-week-old preborn child being vacuumed from the womb. Reporter Katie Wells narrated the account of the unnamed woman undergoing the abortion at Northland Family Planning in the Detroit area. Quote, abortion clinics are almost always closed to the press, but a group of Michigan clinics generously allowed us to embed with them because abortion rights are on the ballot in Michigan this November. But for the doctors, staff, and patients we met there, none of this was about politics, Wells wrote in October during her investigation. For the patients who allowed us into their lives and their procedures, it's about whether they can escape an abusive partner or support the kids they already have or finish school or keep their jobs. We're going to take you inside the clinic, she added. For 9 days ahead of the midterm elections, Wells shared stories from her investigation in a lengthy article. One account spoke of a woman named Melissa from Ohio who came to Michigan for an abortion. Ohio recently enacted a ban on most abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy. Quote, I would be struggling for a very long time, Melissa said. I would have to drop out of school and I would have to find a different job because I would need more daycare. She opted to go through with an abortion at 14 weeks of pregnancy. Okay, so they played the actual audio of an abortion. And I have that clip. I'm not going to play the whole thing because you have to decide for yourself if you want to actually listen to it. But instead, we'll play you the lead up, okay, right up to the moment when they turn the abortion machine on. So I'll play that much at least. And here it is. Listen.
This patient is not one of the patients you heard before. She's asked that we not use her name. She's from Michigan. She already has one kid. She's having her abortion at about 11 weeks. Nearly all abortions in Michigan are before 13 weeks. And like many patients at Northland, she said I could record her procedure. We're going to hear some of that now.
So I am just going to get you set up on the table, and we're going to do that sedation medicine. Okay. I'm going to pull this out under your legs.
Most patients are partially awake during the procedures. They get IV medication for pain and anxiety. The lights are dimmed. There's soothing music. It actually feels a lot like a childbirth. The medical gown, your bare legs in stirrups, and a person next to you saying, you can do this. Release my hand and just keep breathing. That's Brandy. She's one of the staffers. Her job is to monitor vital signs, but it is also to hold the patient's hand and talk her through this. Whether it's a birth or an abortion, it is often women guiding other women.
You're gonna hear this machine turn on now, okay? It makes a loud noise.
Well, that machine is the vacuum that is used to suck the baby out of the womb, ripping him apart in the process. The sound of the vacuum is eerie for the obvious reasons that it's being used to murder a child. And also because without that sound, the whole thing would sound very similar to a childbirth. The abortionist urging her on, encouraging her, saying, keep breathing, as she says throughout the, quote, procedure. At the end, if you listen all the way to the end, you can hear people in the room laughing and smiling and saying, you did great. This is the point that NPR wants us to take away. It's why they recorded and aired it in the first place. They're saying, see, abortion isn't scary. It's just like childbirth. Except that it's the opposite of childbirth. It is like a satanic parody of childbirth. To treat the murder of a child as though it is the birth of a child, that doesn't make the murder better or more palatable. If anything, it makes it worse. If it's possible for it to be worse than it already is, then that would be the effect here. But this should really tell you what you need to know. The NBC and NPR propaganda, given to us in the same week, also gives us a look at the two ends of the abortion propaganda spectrum. There's abortion as portrayed in this fictionalized universe on NBC, and then there's abortion as it is in reality, which NPR let us listen to. The former, the fictionalized version, is inevitably ridiculous. And the latter, no matter what they do or how they try to dress it up, it is inevitably horrific and gut-wrenching. Which is why they rarely do this. They rarely give you a look inside when it's actually happening. And I can tell you that I guarantee NPR is already regretting their decision here. We're supposed to hear the sounds of a woman having her baby killed and think, hey, that's not so bad. But instead, we're viscerally repulsed and horrified. Because there is no appealing or credible way to present this. Abortion is what it is in the end. And what it is the direct and intentional murder of innocent human life. Nothing will ever make that okay. And the Democrats, I think, will pay the price, as they should, politically, for pinning their electoral hopes on it. And that'll do it for this portion of the show as we move over to our members block. Hope to see you there. If not, talk to you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Godspeed.